We're already halfway through the month of June, and we have Canada finally releasing its roster for the women's international window, fresh off of a 2-1 window versus Haiti. The Canadian women will be playing versus Costa Rica in Toronto, and then the U.S. in Washington on July the 2nd and the 22nd, on June the 27th, and then July 2nd. Let's talk about this roster as it sits here, guys. A lot of footy action coming through. We're in the middle of the Gold Cup. We have some NSL content coming out on our channel for the Super League. And we'll talk about this roster. And WAFCON is starting in July, so we'll definitely be ramping up our coverage of that with recaps after every day. But we are the Africans. We do primarily Canadian African content. So if you like this type of content, make sure you leave a like on this video. Make sure you comment on this video and its contents, as well as give subscribe to our notifications, all the fun things. So Canada released its roster, and the roster is as follows: Marie-Yasmine Naidoo, Simia Wujo, Kayla Briggs, Gabby Carl, Zara Shavashi, Annabelle Chukwu, Sabrina D'Angelo, Jessie Fleming, Vanessa Gilles, Julie Grossa, Jordan Heidema, Marie Levasseur, Ashley Lawrence, Adrienne Leon, Lucienne Prou, Nichelle Prince, Emma Regan, Jade Rose, Kaylin Sheridan, Janine Sonas, Evelyn Vienne, Holly Ward, and Shalina Zadorski. The theme of getting a look at younger players coming through, I think, continues to shine through. Congratulations to Annabelle Chukwu for what I believe is her second call-up to the national team. And Zara Shavashi gets her second call up as well. She had a start versus Haiti in Montreal, and she held her own. As a result, she's coming in to this roster. And it's a very interesting roster. You have some names. Also, congratulations to Jade Rose on finalizing her move to Man City. Canada's going to be playing Costa Rica in Toronto, and then the U.S. in the Washington, D.C. And I think it's an interesting matchup for them, especially based off of how we see Casey Stoney really starting to mold out and carve out her 23 and a preferred roster. I think one of the interesting stories coming out of this was a lack of a Quinn. They were a player that wasn't called up the last window. Many assumed that they were ready to play. However, Casey Stoney indicated that was more so roster selection, which almost begins a whole thought process I have, which is, and I've made this point on videos past on this roster, on this team, I wonder if we're going to be ready when this transition happens. When we're looking at this roster, and we're starting to see the integration of younger players starting to push through, right? You see the Kayla Briggs of the world, the Zara Shavashis, the Holly Wards, they're there. And then you also see Emma Regan, who's been performing at the NSL level, Jade Rose, who's been a regular member of the team. Simia Wujo is definitely one of those players as well. You wonder how well some of the long-standing members of the squad are going to fare, especially as the preparation year continues and flows. It'll be very interesting to watch, and everyone would welcome this rotation. I think it would be good to see players within the depth and the pool to see what they can fare against whatever competition they're able to get. I mean, this US side only are bringing 6 players from the Olympic squad. I'm very much curious to see what happens here. I think also no Olivia Smith, who suffered the concussion, is still in concussion protocol. A player, I think, with this Canada side, I think I'll continue to say, I think their availability will limit what their capabilities will be, which seems like a simple thing to say, but I think they haven't scratched the surface for how good they can be. But it'll all come down to how long they're able to spend on the pitch together. Because I think we're going to go through a bit of a youth movement over these next couple of years. I think there are some core players who will stick around, but it would not surprise me if some of the veterans on this team be found as some of the only vets on this side. I think the talent is coming. You look at the NSL players like Sarita Thurton, who are pushing, Nikayla Small, who are pushing. That means the forward lines, the the Shell Princes of the world, the Jordan Heidemas of the world. They have to continue to play with good form, because if not, these younger players are starting to push. I think it's only a matter of time before they're able to crack this lineup, and if Holly Ward is any indication, I feel that they are all getting ready to leave their mark on the national team. But this is the roster for Canada. Costa Rica first, and then the U.S. next. I'm hoping it's another 4-point window. A win and a draw would be ideal. This U.S. side, though they're playing together, are still a little bit untested. So I think if there's any ever a window for a 6-point window, it would be this one. But Costa Rica isn't a simple walkover side. They will make them struggle. So I think for Canada, it'll be pressing well, but then also being able to transition with purpose. And then against the U.S., it's going tit for tat with them, showing that you can play on the pitch with them and not to get run off. And I think they have the ability and technical wherewithal to do so. So this is the roster. You guys let me know what you think. And as always, I'm going to stop talking right here.